All right, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off first and foremost by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to those that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. This is your brother Nathaniel from GMS Camp Atlanta, coming back at you through the Spirit with another lesson, and I pray and hope this lesson is edifying. All right, so in this particular lesson, we're going into the reproach of these so-called black women. Okay. Now, when we read the scriptures, and we're going to start off with it about the reproach of the so-called black woman and the curse that the Lord put on these women, right? These things are already in effect. They've been in effect for quite some time. Okay. It's just that, in this society, what they promote among these so-called black women, the image that they promote is they promote a image of success, an image of fun, and we just got it all together, a type image. But behind the scenes, these women are broken and destroyed. Okay. Passed around, broken and destroyed, and they're waxing worse and worse. And now it's getting to the point to where, so-called black women ain't even wanted or desired. Being like this chick right here, she's an attractive woman, but she's damaged the goods. Her mind is gone. Okay. And there's many so-called black women out there that are like that. Almost all of them. They're so gone in the mind. Okay. That it doesn't matter what they look like. I work in the food and service industry, and I come across them all the time. These women are completely destroyed on every level. They think that the only thing of value that they have is their bodies. Their brains are completely going in warps, right? And I asked this one chick, and she was beautiful, red bone Judite woman. I asked her, what does she like to do for fun? And this bitch said, shop. I like to shop. And that just goes into the mindset of these women. No, I don't like to, I like to help people, or I like to go to a basketball game or a football game, or I enjoy baking, or I enjoy building, or I enjoy doing something constructive. That wasn't her answer. Her answer was, I enjoy shopping. And I said, well, then I guess you got to get out there and make you some money then. And she said, no, I want to use somebody else's money to go shop. So she was inadvertently telling me, bro, I wouldn't mind spending your money. You see? So this is the mindset of these women. And as we go and as we watch this video, these videos, because I got a series of videos that I'm gonna watch, you're seeing that this Isaiah 1 and 3, this reproach of women, this has been happening. You know what I'm saying? Micah, I think it's 7 and 10. It's happening. It's happening. It's you see it unfolding right in front of you. Okay, and most of these women are gonna die. In this upcoming battle. Because they're just when you start really understanding why. You think about why the 1/3. I mean, the 2/3 is going to get wiped out. It's really when you get down to the whole root of it all, it's really that they just can't be reconciled, man. You can't fix these men. You can't fix their mind. Their minds are too far gone. You cannot get them back. Having a conversation with these people is irksome. You can't get them to understand. Their minds are just gone. They're seared with a hot iron. Okay? So they have to be wiped out. You can't convince them about the right way to live according to the scriptures. You can't. Okay, so the saint must know it through death by pain. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and get that real quick in Second Ezra, and we'll just start off with that, because that's gonna be the end result of a lot of y'all women out here. Is y'all gonna end up being destroyed by death through pain. Okay, so this is Second Ezra 9 and verse 12. No, you know what? Let's just start at verse 11. It says, And they that had loathed my law, while they yet had liberty, and when it and when as yet place of repentance was open onto them, understood not but despised it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you go and you start talking to these people, and you're not even necessarily going and preaching the scriptures directly. You may be talking about the right thing to do according to the scriptures in an indirect manner. Basically in a carnal sense, right? So you're doing it in an indirect manner, okay? And they reject that. Like I remember one time I was at work, this is going off a little, but it also goes into women too. And it was this guy, and he was telling me how, he cool with smashing another man's woman. That's pretty much what they, and if she down for it, he down for it. And a lot of these women just be down for it, man. Most of them do. Right. So and I'm telling him, bro, that's off. And he like, man, you out your mind. He basically telling me that I'm out my mind because I think that that's off. Like, like all these women out here in the world that ain't got no man. And yet you go after a woman with one. Hey, and you can't convince him otherwise that this is an off-ass behavior, right? He has been seared. His conscience has been seared with the hot iron. And that's true for y'all Jake women out there. Okay. So, we're going to go back to this Isaiah 3, and we're going to start at verse 16. And it says, moreover, the Lord, moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes. Let's go into this word wanton eyes. Okay. Well, first let's hit this word haughty, because this is something that a lot of y'all women do. It's like to be high, to be exhausted. I mean, exalted. Y'all women working at Chick-fil-A, working at Wendy's, window order takers, working at these base level jobs, or even you can have a job as a nurse. You're still working a blue collar job. All right. You're not an executive making, all this buku money and shit like that. And even you're not what we would call a noble in the ancient world. You're not nothing like that, but you have allowed this world to puff your mind up to think that you can exalt yourself above it. So then above average men. So then you get an average Jake that try to holler at you, and he may not be driving a Bentley or a Benz, or he may be just a working man, right? You turn your nose up against him. Okay. You turn your nose up against him. Right. And you think that you're better than him. And see, that's not going to be the case in the very near future. This is why Isaiah 4:1 is going to be so pivotal. And as we start going into these videos, you can start to understand why we're going into Isaiah 4:1, because they're going to need the hedge of a godly man. Okay. Because as you're seeing, you're seeing women that are a bit wiser, right? They're understanding that, no, you need the hedge and the correction of a man, because women just, and this was a side note, this captivity this captivity that the Lord put us in is so much to learn from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much to learn, because everything that our people were saying that we wanted, right? According to the other nations, the Lord allowed us to have it in a massive quantity, right? So, we wanted that our people wanted to be like the other nations. So they wanted that adulterous spirit to be able to go out and bang whoever you want to with no problem, no recompense. Well, you're seeing the fruits of that with all of these baby mamas and broken families and all that stuff. So now men are getting fed up with it. And guess what? You're getting some Jake women that's getting fed up with it too. Okay. So because you're being exposed to all of these things in such massive quantities, you're saying, hell no, I don't want this. At least that's what the elect are saying. We understand that we don't want this. This is not life. This is not the abundant life that the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, said that we have in store for those that serve Him. We want that life. Okay, so when you watching your women be harlots and before you get her and call her yours, she done been with 50 other men on average. She ain't telling you that, but she has. Okay, whatever number she give you, you need to multiply it by 3 because she lying. Because the scriptures say, "Marvel not." He said, the scriptures roughly paraphrasing saying, "Your wife should be a harlot in the street." Okay. All right. So exalted to be high, to be high, to be exalted. All right. So let's go back to wonton. Okay, wonton. What was it? Ogling. What is this? Let's just look this up. To be ogly, to be wanton. A cruel or violent action, deliberate or unprovoked. 2, sexually unrestrained. And that's these women out here. I mean, both of them can be attributed to these women because these women do shit unprovoked too. Like, you have no reason to destroy a man's life, but you do that. Verse 2, it says, sexually unrestrained, having many casual sexual relationships, typically used of a woman. Okay, so these women that go around, they sleep around, with many dudes, and then want to wake up, then one day want to say, I want to love Jeebus, and I want to be either one man's or I want to serve Jeebus, because that's what they do. But they've been getting destroyed their whole life long, their whole young life. They've been getting destroyed. And then they don't see nothing wrong with that type of behavior. Okay. It says a sexually unrestrained woman. She has behaved like a wanton. Okay, so this is women. This is what y'all think. Y'all think y'all can sleep with whoever y'all want, do whatever y'all want to do. It says play, frolic. They sat gazing at the white flecked pure blue sea and the various gulls that wantoned in the wake. Okay. 2, behave in a sexually unrestrained way. Women who have wanton suitors. Okay. So we got that down. Wanton, sexually unrestrained. Let's look at this word ogly. Or let's look at ogling. See what that means. And it says, stare in a lecherous ogling. Ogle. I said it right. Ogle. Stare in a lecherous manner. So you staring at somebody with freaky eyes. Like, ooh, what would I do? Ooh, So you get females like this, okay? That's why I see the way of an adulterous woman can be seen in her haughty looks and her eyelids. All right. And what do you see these women wearing all the time? Right? With their duck wing and their cumbrellas, right? It says, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking with a mincing as they go and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore, I will smite the scab, the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. All right. Now, when it talks about crown, I think that's going into the crown of the head. And it says crown of the head, top of the head. That's why they bald. Okay. That's why these women are bald. Smite with a scab. Let's look at that. To join, attach together the whole thing. Okay. To cause a scab upon, smite with a scab. Okay. So there we go. Now let's continue on. It says, and the Lord will discover thy secret parts. Well, that could allude to why these women are out here dressed so shamefully. So they're dressed so scandalously. They're lewd. It says, in that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of the tinkling ornaments about their feet and cause their and their calls and their tires round like the moon. You know, talking about that buttocks and the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers. Okay, and the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings and the rings and the nose jewels and the changeable suits of apparel and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, it should be a stank. And you know what that's talking about? Okay, and that's so you got all of these women that have been with many men, many men. Okay, so you got these women that's been with these many men, and they box smell like a trash chute. Okay, because they got billions of dead bodies in there, and they can't get rid of that smell. That smell is with them. Okay, and it says instead of a girdle or rent, okay, you're gonna be fat. And instead of a well set hair baldness, okay, let's go into this word rent. Instead of a girdle, let's look into a girdle first. Let's see what that is, because I know what a girdle is now. You know, it says a belt, a loin covering. It's one of those, and that's talking about your abs. Okay, your abs can be considered a girdle, right? Because you know you got 6-pack abs. You know, and your back muscles in shape is holding everything in properly, right? But you know, most of these women out here walking around with fupas. You know, they got fajas on. You know, trying to hold they outside girdle, trying to hold their fat in place. You know, knowing that they stomach is off the chains because they don't know how to stop eating. All right. It says a rent. So let's look into that. It says tether rope, encircling rope. You know, a fupa. You know, fupa, stretch marks. You know, just terrible. All right. And then it says, and that's what that's what a lot of these women have from all the kids they didn't have, blown out bellies. You know, just through. And it says, uh, uh, instead of well set hair, baldness, instead of a stomacher, girdling of sackcloth, and instead of and instead of burning instead of beauty. And that's why they wear so much makeup, because they ugly. Even the pretty ones be ugly, having blemishes that they gotta hide. You know. All right, so you know that was the. I just wanted to go over that because that covers a lot of what's happening to these women, right? And also the curses, and you know we might get some of those, you know. But without further ado, let's play this. And
an independent woman narrative has been praised as the blueprint for modern success. Get the degree, secure the bag, live on your terms, and never rely on a man. It was supposed to be the path to freedom. But now, as we dig into the numbers, we're seeing a very different outcome. Rising rates of arrest, criminal charges, and incarceration among women who proudly claim they didn't need structure, accountability, or a husband. This isn't just about individual choices. It's about a cultural shift that told women they could reject traditional roles and responsibility without consequences.
all right, so she was talking about the role of their husband, right? So when you go to Second Ezra's just came. Second Ezra's the 15th chapter. So that's what's no, it's Ecclesiastes. It's 26. You know,
Are you Mario?
Be quiet. Yeah, I recorded that earlier, but I'm looking for it might be in 25. Where is it? All weekend. This is I can get 19, but this isn't what I originally wanted. Second Ezra, I'm sorry, Ecclesiasticus 15 and 19. It says all wickedness is but a little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. All right. So so you know, all the wickedness that these women do is just their nature. Okay. I know it's in 20. I think it's 26. My bad. No, not 36. 26. It's like, yeah, 26. It's 20. It says, if thy daughter, this is, I was right there. This is, Ecclesiasticus, 26 and 10. It says, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself over much liberty. Verse 11, watch over an impotent eye and marvel not if she trespass against thee. Okay, so these are the characteristics of women, especially these wicked women nowadays, right? So this is what this woman is going into. She's going into how these women have rejected, the guidance of the matriarchy or the man, right, to lead the guy and guide the house in the direction that's going to be most beneficial for prosperity. Okay, so she's saying that they have rejected that.
But now, in the absence of guidance, covering, and husbands, many are finding themselves in dangerous cycles, emotionally, financially, and legally. And with no one there to intervene, support, or stabilize their lives, the system steps in where a husband once would have. In this video, we're breaking down how the rejection of marriage, male leadership, and family order has contributed to a quiet crisis among independent women.
So you know, like the real thing is that when you hear people say that grandmama kept the house together and all that shit, that's not true. It's really granddad. Normally, granddad has been passed on, and they're talking about grandmama and all that shit. But in all actuality, he's not getting the credit that's due for what he did to keep his household together. You see? And that's because when you look at these big mama households, you look at these woman ran households, they're always in shambles, right? But then when you see these successful households, these households where the kids are happy, the wife is happy and they got everything that they need in their life, right? What does that normally reflect? That normally reflects a man that has been governing his house with prudence. You know what I'm saying? And making sure that and that's another thing these stupid ass women don't understand. That right there, a man and a wife, a husband and a wife, and the husband and the wife is under the submitted to the husband, right? That creates a government. That's because what happens? You get a piece of land like a compound, right? And then your children take over parts of that land. They have children. You're still the matriarch, right? And you're still alive, but you've taught your children And then their children taught their children, and then their children taught their children, and now you're gone, but your lineage, your progeny lives on, right? And then they start to grow, and eventually they grow so much that they overtake the land, right? So then those family members that have been a part of that family, they grow so much that they actually grow into a small nation. And that's really how it happens. Okay? And it starts with a man governing his household, not a damn woman. Okay? You are a servant. The woman literally means servant.
One that's showing up in mugshots, courtrooms, and broken futures. In the shadows of America's criminal justice system lies a troubling and often overlooked crisis: the rising incarceration rate of Black women. While public discourse often focuses on the mass incarceration of Black men, Black women are being incarcerated at an alarming rate, with devastating effects on families, communities, and generations to come. This trend is not just a legal or criminal issue. It is a social, economic, and racial justice emergency, a disproportionate reality. Black women make up approximately 13% of the female U.S. population, yet they account for nearly 30% of all incarcerated women. According to data from the Sentencing Project and the Bureau of Justice Statistics, Black women are imprisoned at more than 1.7 times the rate of white women. In some states, that disparity is even greater. This disproportionate incarceration is rooted in a complex web. The impact on families and communities. The incarceration of Black women has a ripple effect that reaches far beyond prison walls. Around 80% of incarcerated women are mothers, and many are the primary caregivers of their children. Mm-hmm. Children may be placed in foster care, grow up with emotional scars, or become part of the cycle of poverty and incarceration themselves. Over the past few decades, society has embraced a new version of womanhood, one that centers on independence, self-reliance, and total freedom from traditional structures like marriage and family. The boss chick and independent woman personas became icons of empowerment. Women were encouraged to prioritize careers, reject male leadership, and build lives without husbands, fathers, or families.
So they bought into, the system. They bought into the narrative. Okay, so let's go to Lamentations 4:3, and it says, even the sea monster draw out the breast and give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people has become cruel, like the ostrich in the wilderness. Okay, so our women have forgotten their children. They have forgotten their loved ones. They've forgotten their household. That's not important to them anymore. Okay, this is why many Black men are now leaving the scene of Black women. They're not interested in Black women no more, because you all have become the bottom of society. A woman that was so, at one time, that was so much coveted by many different races of men for not only her beauty, but the wisdom of a so-called Black woman. To be able to be supportive and strong for her man and her household. That used to be what the Black woman could have represented. But it's not. So not even an idea. This bitch has become a demon. A promiscuous wanton demon. Okay. And then I actually pulled up a lot of those statistics that she was going over here, where it says what percent. I put in this AI and Google AI. It says what percentage of Black women being arrested in jail and put in jail. It says, based on available information, racial disparities in the criminal justice system in the United States. I didn't even ask it about the racial disparity, but it put it in there. It says Black women are disproportionately represented in the incarcerated population. In 2022, the imprisonment rate of Black women was 64,100, 1.6 times the rate for white women. Black women account for roughly 13% of the general population, but yet represent 29% of the incarcerated women. Studies have found that black women are arrested in 4.4 of police initial stops and about 3 times more often than white women and twice as often as Latino women. Okay? So, y'all think that, y'all black bitches are looked upon just as these damn niggas out here, man. Like, for real. Y'all are looked upon just as these niggas out here. Worthless scum, bottom of the barrel. Okay?
But now, quietly and slowly, the consequences of that narrative are starting to show up. Not just in failed relationships, but in courtrooms and correctional facilities across the country. The female incarceration rate in the United States has been rising fast.
Now, this is the brick lady right here. She had injected her face with saline and then lied and said that the black men, didn't help her when she got her ass beat, and then started a GoFundMe page, right? And got like some crazy money, like 50 bands or something like that. And then when they investigated her, they seen that she done did this shit a couple times. So now she going to prison. Okay? Not a bad looking chick. I mean, this is a mug shot. Could you imagine her being dressed up? Her in shape being dressed up? What a damn waste. But this is the life that these so-called black women have adopted and they fell into, just like so-called black males fell into the gangster life back in the 90s and early 2000s. These so-called black women have fell into this boss chick mindset. Okay? Hey, it's the same enemy playing this shit off on the woman's side and the male side, and y'all are finished. You in some respects, you got the so-called black man waking up out this shit, but y'all black women, hey, y'all just can't get it. Okay? Let's go back to this Ecclesiasticus. Okay? Verse 12, it says, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler, which is a metaphor for you know what. When she had found a fountain, she would drink of every water near her, and every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. Okay. Now, what do you think that arrow represents and that quiver represents? Okay. A quiver hold arrows. Okay. And it says against every arrow. All right. It says, verse 13, and we're going to skip them because there's hardly any women out here, right? It says a shameful and faithful one, that one too. Verse 22, it says, a harlot shall be counted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death unto her husband. It says a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. Okay. A dishonest woman contendeth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. Okay. You got women that don't reverence their husband. They don't think of their husband's will when they're around. They'll do shit like, a girl or whatever. I don't care about what he say. I do what I want to do. That's what they do. They don't reverence her husband. That's what it means. Like when a woman is in her day-to-day activities, she'll be thinking about the law of her husband. Okay. It says, verse 25, a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is steadfast will fear the Lord. Okay. Verse 26, a woman that honoreth her husband shall be a judge wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. And that's a lot of y'all women dishonor your husband in pride. It's rare that a woman honoreth her husband, right? Because you're supposed to honor your husband, especially if you got a kind and God-fearing man that wants to love you and take care of you. That's a beautiful thing right there. But a lot of y'all women out there, y'all don't think about that as something that's precious. Okay? Y'all are dismissive of those type of things. Okay? Verse 27 is a loud crying woman and a scold shall be sought out to drive out the enemies. All right? I mean, these women, off of their mouth and the things that they say, man, they'll drive out enemies. Okay? So let's go to the next video, right? This one is a little bit shorter, but this is another so-called, and this is a lot of this shit is y'all so-called black, y'all sisterhood Y'all should be checking these other black women that do stupid shit like this black woman is saying.
Bubba Rob is that man's who's able to come.
Now hold up. Now going they're gonna explain it, but they're tired. These other nations are tired of the so-called black woman and you shaking your ass. I'm tired of seeing it. I don't want to see that. I've been tired of seeing it. You know, I mean, all you want to do is turn over and shake your backside.
In and come out at Harriet's rooftop, you should be fired. You should actually be ashamed of yourself on how you treated my friend and I. Why you didn't let us in for no apparent reason, I don't know. Why you wanted us to pay $100 a piece to get in, yet you let other girls in prior to us is crazy. And mind you, I was standing there for over an hour trying to get in.
The reason why they're not letting you in is not because of racism. The reason why they're not letting you in is because of behavior. If you look at how black women are portrayed and how black women act on the internet, in public, everywhere you go, it is disgusting. Black women act like degenerates and nobody wants to be around it. This is what you're seeing. It is not because of racism. Not to mention, you guys have zero decorum, zero regard for anyone else, and then cry racism every time you don't get your way. Also, you guys are loud, always dressed naked, and you just don't respect anybody, and you walk around with that I don't have anything to lose attitude. Not to mention you're unaccountable, and you just probably shouldn't be out in the club anyways, because your children can't read. Unfortunately, people are just not going to deal with it anymore. Either black women get their act together or you will be excluded.
And that's pretty much it right there. That's what's happening. Okay? She's gonna as a matter of fact, let's go get that real quick. Let's get that because that's exactly what's what's happening, right? Isaiah 12. Wait, hold up. Hold on. Let's talk about some. All right. This is Isaiah 39:9. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice. You careless daughters, give ear to my speech." The Lord has been crying off to y'all, right? It says, many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women, for the vintage shall fail and the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, you careless ones. Strip ye and make ye bare, and gird up sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats and the pleasant fields and the fruitful vines. Those things that women want, right? Those pleasant things that you desire, that you've been getting, right? Through all of these systems and the Section 8, the Section 8, right? The WIC, okay? The big, beautiful bill took a lot of this stuff away. The food stamps, the government, different types of government assistance, Medicare, Medicaid, a lot of these things that, you so-called black women were getting that are now going away. The federal government are slashing DEI jobs like crazy, right? Then you have the eviction rate amongst black women is among the highest in the nation. Okay, right? You're the highest educated and the highest evicted, right? What else? You have the disparity with the debt, the education debt or whatever, like y'all owe all this money for school. So you have that type of disparity. So you have all of these different, things that black women are now, that not only were they taken away, but when you did have them, they didn't really benefit you like you thought they were in the first place. Okay. So y'all in a position of lamenting now. Okay. Let's go to Let's look up that word lament, which I believe goes into word mourn. Right. To wail, lament, mourn, right? So a word lament goes into mourning, which is basically crying out, right? It says, all right, and it says, verse 13, it says, and among the land of my, okay, so that was it. So you see that here. These women are not getting the attention that they once was getting. Here's another one. We ain't going to play the whole thing, but we're just going to play a little bit of it.
And girls worldwide, I'm here. On behalf of all the independent girls worldwide, I'm here to say that we are tired. In fact, let me speak for myself. I am tired. I'm tired of worrying about my own hair, worrying about paying for my own nails, worrying about what I'm gonna eat, paying for what I'm gonna eat, paying my bills, fixing my own car.
I've reached this point in my life where the strong, independent woman phase is dying down, like slowly dying down. Like I'm tired.
Just turned 34 this March and I am too broke to have a child. And
can't be the only person who feels like this. So I'm 30 years old. I am unemployed. I've been unemployed for 4 months. I literally can't get a job. I've applied to over 150 jobs. I now have negative $4.41 in my savings account.
I need to know who the is in charge, who I need to talk to. Cause listen, when I tell y'all, I've been looking for a new job because I'm sick and tired of the job that I'm at, and I really don't care. Honestly, I don't care.
At what age did you wake up and realize that you no longer wanted to be a strong Black independent woman?
The strong Black woman narrative is a scam. Wake up! I had a good run. I did everything the society told me to do. I worked really hard. I damn near broke my back. I paid all my bills. I put everybody else first. I told men I was independent. I refused to accept gifts and help. I said I was strong. I did it, and I did it to say that I want nothing from it. I literally did not win any special awards. My life has not changed drastically. So now I'm gonna reclaim my time, okay? When you see me now, know that I'm a soft babe. Soft like babe, you get it? I'm not Annie. I'm not Jay-Z. This is not a hard knock. That's not my life, okay? And when you see me now, you address me as such, okay? I want to be able to look at me and say,
and that's something that y'all women think. You think that you can just hop back in it. No, you've already been counted as a dog. Okay. All right. The scripture says shameless woman should be counted as a dog. Let me see if I can find that. Like this. I'm not going to keep on telling you guys. Let's go back to that. Let's read that again. It says, verse Ecclesiastes 26 and 25. It says, "A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is steadfast will fear the Lord." All right. So y'all, hey man, it's too late. You already done lost y'all shame. You know, I mean, some of y'all may be getting redeemed, but for the most part, man, y'all women are finished, man. People and men are tired of this shit. The system is tired of this. All right. Y'all trying to be everything except what y'all supposed to be, a goddamn woman.
wow, this babe is soft. Wow, this babe likes enjoyment. Wow, this babe has not worked a day in her life. That's what I want you to see me as, okay? And when you see me next, address me as Chief Executive Commander-in-Chief or soft like babe.
I am so tired of living my life in survival mode because despite having 2 college degrees and making close to $80,000 a year, I still cannot keep up with the cost of living. I still cannot afford all of my bills every month and have to live paycheck to paycheck. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I am sacrificing my mental health, my time, and my energy to take care of people in their most vulnerable moments, and a lot of the time they do not make it. At the very least, I should be able to pay my bills. And for anyone who's thinking, oh, well, you shouldn't have chose that job, somebody has to do it. And you know damn well, if your loved one was critically ill, you would want somebody to take care of them, right? Something has to give. I cannot keep doing this.
I usually don't do this because I'm ashamed, but at this point I'm desperate and I need help. I need help. I am currently in a hotel with my son.
You see, y'all women have been lied to. Okay, y'all will be guiled by the serpent again, yet again, because you weren't meant to hold the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were meant to help a man hold the weight of the world on his shoulders. Okay, that's what your ass was meant to do. But y'all women ain't gonna hear these words, right? You got to go through all of this shit that you're going through right now, just so just so you can experience this stuff, so you can understand that you was wrong. You don't have the vision to be able to understand what a man is telling you. You have to actually go through that shit, right? In order to understand. And then when you go through it, it's already too late. Okay? So, that was pretty much it. I'm going to stop it right there. I might do a part 2 or something like that because there's still a lot more material. And with that, I'm going to end it off by giving all praises going honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Sing time I say shalom.